Hey guys, and welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk about the one thing that everybody would love to do. We'd all love to hit the dead center of the club face. It makes it so much more fun when we're hitting the shot solid. I'm going to talk about the number one mistake that I see. I see a ton of golfers making this mistake, that hang back flip. If you tend to hit the ball a little bit low on the club face, you very rarely hit it above the center, this is going to be a great video for you. Let's go ahead and get started. Now, if you're joining us on YouTube, make sure click down below on that subscribe button. That way you don't miss out on any of our great videos that are coming. I got some really good ones for you guys that are going to help you all with your game. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on those. Same if you're on a mobile phone, just click the drop down and then you can subscribe from there. All right, hitting the center, the most common thing that I see, and if we kind of zoom in on this club face, you'll notice that this is a used driver that I got. I broke the face on one of my old ones. I really like this old Ping i15, old driver, but I really like it. The wear pattern is going to tend to be toward the lower part of the face and more toward the heel. Ideally, where we want to be on the driver is either dead in the center or a little bit above that into the toe side. Just maybe a 1/4 inch would be absolutely perfect. As you get higher on the face, that's going to get a little bit more of a gear effect, knuckle the ball. It's going to make it go a little farther. That's what the pros talk about when they talk about hitting flyers. That means it's higher on the face and a little bit more on the toe because the toe is moving slightly faster. So what is it that causes this low heel pattern that we see with so many drivers? Well, most of the time, the most common thing that I see is kind of hanging back and helping that driver through the ball. So what happens is we all want to hit the ball far, and we imagine taking our right wrist and the palm of our hand, imagine that being the face. If I flex the inside of my right forearm, that's going to push this club forward. I can really feel like I get a lot of power. It feels very powerful when I try to push that club toward the target. A lot of golfers say that we try to do this to help lift the ball in the air, but I don't find that that's the case. I think that most of the time people want to hit it far and they're flipping with this right hand to try to get power. If you're doing this, you're going to feel a few things. Number one, you're going to feel a little bit of weight on your back foot as you're coming through the shot. So almost like you're planning up and really trying to push off that back foot to help that ball forward. Again, you're going to feel like the muscles on the inside of your forearm are pushing. And lastly, you're going to feel a lot of pressure on the index finger and the middle finger of your back hand. That's that pushing action. Whenever I push, that's where I'm going to feel the pressure of the grip in my hand. So if that sounds familiar, this is probably something that you're doing. All right, so now that we know that, what do we do about it? If we don't want to push, what is it that we're doing? Well, again, that's that idea that we're going to take this club, we're going to push it toward the target. In reality, what's happening is the pros are letting their club get a lot of lag, so a big angle between their forearms and the club shaft. They're getting those hands low, and what's happening is as the body clears out of the way, as my body opens up, look how this left shoulder goes up and higher. So if I'm going toward the camera, as my body clears out of the way, look how my shoulder goes up and out that direction. And look how my left arm, because it's hanging from my shoulder, is also going to work up that direction. So if you look at just the butt end of the club, that club moves up and in. If I'm doing that with a golf club, imagine I had this angle here, of this angle of the club, and I pull that club up. That's going to accelerate that club toward the target. That's going to let that club whip a lot faster than if I took this and pushed the club. As crazy as it seems, if you've got some pretty good high club head speed, the bottom of the grip where your right hand is on the grip, it's accelerating so fast, the right hand really can't keep up through contact. So even if you're trying to push, you're probably actually pulling it and slowing it down, which is counterintuitive, but it's actually happening. It's going to kill your swing speed. Now what we want to do is make sure that we clear out of the way. The biggest thing here is we have to open up the body. You'll hear me say this in a lot of videos, and I say it so much because it's really important. If I feel like I'm going to be swinging with some power, I want to feel like I open my body up. Just like I was going to toss this golf ball down the fairway. I'm going to open my body up and then let that club go. Same thing's happening in the full swing. As I open my body, left hip, left shoulder, then the club all coming up and in, that allows that club to whip on through there so I don't have to feel like I'm pushing at it. When I'm doing this, now my lead side of my body is leading the way. I have some forward shaft lean, and this club naturally wants to track with that. It's much more consistent if that club tracks with my hands versus me pushing the club. One time I'm going to push it a little too hard, too soft, it's going to miss. I'm going to have all kinds of mishits. Plus, if my hands are leading the way, I'm going to be coming in fairly level with this ball. Whether we're talking about driver, swinging slightly up on it, or irons, swinging slightly down, I'm not going to be as inconsistent. I can have these hands leading the way and consistently hit the center of that club face. If I'm flipping at the club, pushing at it, now what happens is this club wants to ground out back here behind the ball, and then it flips back up into the ball. That's why it's lower on the face. I'm also feeling like it's tough to get any part of the club face above center in contact with the ball because that thing is moving back up. And when that happens, if you hit it just right, it's the center of the face. If you flip a little early, it's going to work down lower and more toward the toe. So if I want to get more consistent, I have to open up my body, get that hand leading forward, and then release that club. Now with the driver, because I'm a little more tilted away from the ball, even though my body's turning out of the way, my hands are leading, I won't have a ton of forward shaft lane. Naturally, as you start going more into the wedges, you're going to be a little bit more on top of the ball. As the same body motion happens, my hands are going to be leading a little bit more and my forward shaft lane will increase. So I really don't have to consciously think about much different with the driver all the way down to the iron. This same general idea works. And here's what I want you to do. Let's go ahead and go down to the bottom of the swing. I want you to feel like you're coming from the inside. So let this club feel like it's shallowing out a bit. The shaft is laying down. That's what we call the move in the Top Speed Golf system. And then from there, let's go all the way down to where my club's in front of my right knee. Now from here, I want to feel like my left leg has some bend. It's angled out. And now I can push into the ground, and that's going to allow me to do two things. Number one, it's going to allow everything to turn up and out, and it's going to allow everything to open up. That way this club head is trailing my hands and arms, and it's going to be very consistent. But let's put this to the test. Anybody can just sit here and say, you know, I think that's going to work, but let's actually put that to the test. Here is a can of Dr. Scholl's Odor X Odor Fighting Foot Spray, and this is really good. You can get this, I'll get them on Amazon, pay for a 6-pack, and they last quite a while. But you can spray this powder all over your club face. I'll put it on there really thick so it'll be easy to see. And now I have this white powder that's going to show me where I'm hitting the ball. I'm going to go ahead and stand back and flip at this one. Try to really push with my right hand. Again, that's that right foot, right wrist, right palm, pushing as hard as I can do it. My flight scope went to sleep here. I'm going to wake it back up. And let's see how this one does. All right, so this would be the incorrect way, that flip. And I bet you I'm probably going to go low left on the face when I do this. I could feel it right away, low on the face. I swung really hard. I pushed with that right hand. Probably wasn't a terrible swing, but it's not going to be very much distance. Look how on that club face, immediately you can see it's very low on the face. Some of those might be toward the heel. Very few of them are going to be toward the toe when I'm doing that. But again, it's just hard to get it high enough on the face because I'm pushing the club with my hands and arms toward the ball. Now, if I do the same swing effort, if I put out the same amount of effort and I let those hands get low, I let my body open up, now I'm going to be able to get a lot more speed. So if I feel like my hands get low, then everything clears out of the way. Now I'm going to really be able to rip this golf ball and get a little higher on the face. There we go, killed that one. So that one will be much farther on the flight scope. I didn't see the first numbers. That one is way out there. You'll see there, higher on the face. Whoop, lost my driver. I can swing it better than hold it. So I got some scratches on there from the grass, but you see that one's higher on the face and a little bit on the toe. That's basically the best you can do for your distance. And you can only do that by letting that club shallow out and then rotating everything on through. So on that one, we'll kind of scroll back. Swing speed was 115. Didn't swing all that hard, but I hit it really solid. We got a little wind behind us, carried 298 and 335 after the roll. If we compare that to the first one, 113, I swung 1 mile an hour faster on the first one, but I only carried 230 and 259. So literally I went from roughly 260 all the way up to 335. So picked up, 75 yards just by hitting it in the right spot on the face. That's how important that can be. So finally here, let's get to the drill. It's great to know, okay, I understand what's going on. What do I need to do to actually make this go into my own game so I can stop flipping and start rotating on through there? All right, so this is going to be a 3-part drill. part number one, we're going to do some practice swings here. I want you to go to the top of your swing, and you can imagine if I have this club, I'm going to let it rotate to the right. The back of my left hand is going to be up toward the sky. I'm going to feel like I bow my wrist a little bit. So I'm taking this club and I'm going to feel like I'm twisting the handle just like this. So I'm twisting it, which would be to the right or clockwise as I start my downswing, and that's going to shallow that club out. That's the first piece. Let's make about 5 or 10 swings practicing that. Shallow it out and on through. 5 or 10 swings just to get comfortable with that motion. Piece number 2 is I'm going to do a squat and I'm going to get my hands nice and low. So number 1 was that shallowing it out. I'm exaggerating here just to give the effect. Piece number 2 is I'm letting my legs bend and I'm letting my hands get low. Now this is really important. If my hands stay high, I'm going to tend to flip at the ball to be able to reach it. If my hands get low, now I have plenty of room to reach that golf ball. So I'm going to do about 10 more, shallow, hands low. From the last piece here, I'm going to go ahead, as I come on through, I'm going to let my body open up and I'm going to let my hands turn back up and in. So my left leg has to straighten, my left shoulder has to go up, and my grip has to go up and in that way to feel like I get that to whip on through there. Another 10 or so practice swings to really get comfortable with this, and then we're going to go ahead and let it fly. So I'm going to shallow the club out. I've done those, gotten low. Now I'm going to really let everything extend up, hit another really nice, solid, long drive. All right, guys, hit that one well. So let's take a look at these numbers. We're going to see on Flight Scope that was nice and solid, maybe just slightly off the toe, but still pretty daggone solid. Clubhead speed 116, 290 carry, 289 carry, and 323.8 total distance. So I'll definitely take that one without a doubt. That all comes from me being able to shallow that club out, clear out of the way. Now my hands are leading and the ball's just getting in the way. I'm going to be really nice and solid. Now, if you're joining us on YouTube, this is the most important piece of this. The next piece that has to pair this up. We talked about how the hands need to lead. I need to clear out of the way, but we have to, I can't emphasize enough how much we have to shallow this club out. If my club comes down steep, and now I try to get the hands leading the way, look what happens to this club face. It opens wide open, and I'm going to block the ball to the right. I'm going to hit some really poor shots. If I can shallow that club out, then as I turn to the left, my club is still kicking forward and I'm going to hit the ball nice and solid. That's what we call the move in the Top Speed Golf system, and I have a preview of one of my best videos from the move section. All you need to do is just go ahead and click the card on the screen or down below in the description. I'm going to walk you through that. I call it the tennis racket drill, and it's really going to help you to shallow that club out, square the face up early. Then you can clear out of the way as hard as you want to and get a lot of power. Player problems. We're going to talk about shallowing that club shaft out as we're starting down, as we're doing this rotating of the face that we worked on in the last video. As we start this downswing, what you'll see with basically all of the top players is instead of coming kind of over the top and letting the hands come out away from their body, letting the club come out away from their body, again coming down steep into the ball and then having to open up, kind of fillet open the face and add loft to it, the flattening of the shaft should happen as soon as we start down. So as we start this downswing, what we want to have happening here, you can imagine that if I draw a line from the hosel of my club up through my right elbow, that's my swing plane line, my elbow plane. As I go to the top of the swing, I'm going to be slightly above that. And then as I start down, I want my hands to start to shallow out. I want the club to shallow out inside of this elbow plane. And at the same time, I'm going to be rotating